Hi, my name is Önder Ökmen. In this presentation, I will introduce the paper entitled Evaluation and Comparison of the Public Construction Legislations of Turkey and the Netherlands in the context of project planning and control. This study was conducted together with my colleagues Marian Bosch-Rekveldt and Leon Hombergen at the Civil Engineering and Geosciences faculty of the Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands. Before starting the presentation, firstly, I would like to introduce my many thanks to the organizers of this important conference realized during this challenging pandemic period. And I would like to mention that this study has been performed through the Jean Monnet Scholarship Program funded by the European Union. The basic objective in construction projects is to complete the projects within time, cost, and scope, along with expectations and requirements, mainly in terms of quality, safety, environment, and stakeholder satisfaction. When we take into account the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide, published by the Project Management Institute, which is a primary resource in this field, in order to achieve success in projects, the processes required to be performed throughout the life cycle of a project in a cyclic manner can be grouped under 5 major headings: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closure, as shown in the figure given on this slide. Please note that this study focuses on the planning and controlling subject from the legislation perspective. Complex, uncertain, and dynamic conditions in today's construction projects require the usage of appropriate planning and control methodologies in order to increase the possibility of achieving success. Particularly, using the techniques such as the critical path method, line of balance, linear scheduling, and earned value management seems essential in order to properly manage the construction projects. Completion of public-owned construction projects successfully is quite important for Turkey as a rapidly developing country. However, schedule delays and budget overruns are frequently encountered in public-owned construction projects in Turkey. One of the causes for these delays and overruns is that projects are started without a proper planning and then executed without using advanced project planning and control methods. The studies conducted on this issue point out the main reasons of this problem being the non-existence of appropriate and sufficient provisions in the current regulations that will enforce the project parties to utilize the required project planning and control methods in their undertakings, and lack of awareness on such methods in the Turkish construction sector. In Turkey, public institutions which are liable to public law and using public resources are subject to Public Procurement Law 4734 and Public Procurement Contracts Law 4735. In this study, firstly, the public construction legislation in force in the Netherlands and related practices were investigated. Secondly, the public construction legislation in force in Turkey was reviewed to review the deficiencies in the regulations from the perspective of project planning and control. Subsequently, a number of legislative amendments have been proposed to eliminate these deficiencies. Finally, the legislations and related practices of the two countries were compared and conclusions were drawn. The Netherlands does not have a strictly centralized state tradition. There are 3 levels of independent Dutch governments: one central government based in The Hague, 12 provinces, and 355 municipalities respectively. Furthermore, there is an independent layer of 21 regional water management authorities who deal with the local polder systems, water safety, sewer water treatment, and water quality. All of these Dutch governments have their own jurisdiction, can make their own decisions, and have their own political representatives. Also, for the role as an employer to the civil engineering market, these governmental administrations have their own policies and responsibilities. Only on some issues the central national government enforces rules by law. However, in general, the policies and applications of the National Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management are followed. Rijkswaterstaat is a part of this ministry, being the executive agency that operates and explores the national networks for canals and rivers, highways, and water defense works. ProRail, which is the public organization that takes care of the national railway network, is a bit more remote and independent from the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management, but it also reports to this ministry. On the other hand, the water management authorities, municipalities, and provinces report to their own political representatives and are only supervised by the national government remotely. In this study, public construction legislation and related practices in the Netherlands have been investigated by gathering and studying in the Dutch standardized contract formats and specifications used by the Rijkswaterstaat, ProRail, and water management authorities respectively, and by interviewing planning practitioners' expertise on the Dutch construction sector. The quality control system is the main tool generally utilized in managing the Dutch public construction contracts. The usage of advanced project planning and control procedures in public-owned construction projects are ensured mainly through the adoption of the quality control system, the details of which are determined within the contracts through negotiations conducted between the public owners and contractors. In general, the details of the requirements regarding the project planning and control already are ensured through the quality control system within the contracts. ProRail applies the tightest contractual clauses regarding the project planning and control among the owners of the public construction sector of the Netherlands. The requirements are embedded in a general tight level of specifications, along with the safety specifications implemented for all the projects in the railway construction sector. A detailed work breakdown structure is generally required, as well as a probabilistic approach to the planning. Critical path method, linear scheduling method, earned value management, S-curve progress analysis, and Monte Carlo simulation-based scheduling are among the project planning and control methods generally utilized by the contractors in the projects of ProRail. After presenting some information about the public construction legislation and related practice in the Netherlands, let's talk about the part of the paper related to Turkey. In the study, 6 different legislations in force in the Turkish public construction sector has been reviewed, the names of which are given on the screen. Public Procurement Law 4734, Public Procurement Contracts Law 4735, Annex to the Implementation Regulation for Construction Works Tenders, General Conditions of Construction Works, Implementation Regulation for Construction Works Tenders, Public Tender General Communique, Annex to the Implementation Regulation for Construction Works Tenders, Contract Template for Construction Works, are the laws and regulations taken into account during this study. These laws and regulations have been evaluated in the context of project planning and control. For this purpose, the pieces of the evaluated legislation were designated by letters and the content has been scanned based on a number of keywords in relation with project planning and control as shown in the table on the slide. In the end of the evaluation, it was detected whether the legislation in question include regulations regarding the keywords searched. As it can be observed in the table given on the slide, the legislation investigated has many deficiencies in terms of project planning and control. In order to eliminate the deficiencies detected in the legislation in terms of project planning and control, a number of legislative amendments have been proposed in this study. Project management methods taken into account and referred within these amendment proposals are the critical path method, line of balance method, and linear scheduling method as the project planning and scheduling methods, the earned value management and S-curve progress analysis as the project control methods, and time impact analysis as for the delay analysis method. The reason of using these methods in the study is that relevant literature extensively states their advantages, features, and effectiveness in construction project management. In the paper, only 4 of the legislative amendments proposed for the elimination of the deficiencies detected in public construction legislation of Turkey in the context of project planning and control have been introduced in detail. The contents of the first table would change as in the second table given on the slide if all of the amendments proposed in this study are implemented. As can be observed in this table, the subjects shown in the columns occupy place in at least one of the arrangements mentioned in the rows. This can be considered as a sufficient criteria to eliminate the legislative deficiencies detected in this study when the principle of hierarchy of norms of law is taken into account. In this final part of the presentation, I will summarize the conclusions and findings of the study. Ensuring the usage of advanced project planning and control methods such as critical path method, linear scheduling method, and earth management through legislation emerged as a priority for the public construction sector in Turkey. This study has revealed that almost no obligation exists in regulations regarding the usage of these methods. This situation yields to ineffective project management from the contractor's perspective and ineffective progress monitoring from the owner's viewpoint. In turn, cost overruns and schedule delays frequently occur in public-owned construction projects. This study aims to create an awareness on this issue and introduce an approach that can be followed to resolve this problem. In the Netherlands, the usage of advanced project planning and control procedures in public-owned construction projects are ensured mainly through the adoption of a comprehensive quality control system, the details of which are determined within the contracts through negotiations conducted between the public owners and contractors. In other words, although the legislative regulations do not contain obligatory terms towards the implementation of advanced project planning and control procedures, in the public construction legislation of the Netherlands, similar to the situation in Turkey, the usage of such methods is ensured through the quality control systems applied tightly based on the regulations put into force within the scope of contracts. All the different cooperation cultures among the public owner organizations in Turkey already provide the conditions of realizing procedures similar to the current practice in the Netherlands. Generalization of the usage of such a model is also possible in Turkey. Furthermore, it can be argued that legislative amendments similar to the ones proposed in this study may be applicable and required also for the legislation of the Netherlands to provide a multidimensional solution also to the case of the Netherlands. Obviously, schedule delays and cost overruns in the public-owned construction projects also occur in the Netherlands. Future research could focus not only on the opportunities of legislative amendments in the Netherlands, but also in the other European countries. Thank you for listening to my presentation. On this last slide, you can see some wonderful pictures from Turkey and the Netherlands.